Yes, sir.
All right, and first chess lesson?
Yes, sir. Let's
All
do
right.
it.
Well, my name's Joe. I work for chess.com. I actually run the Collegiate Chess League, but I've given a ton of lessons to other players. Actually, I've done lessons for other football players. Um, I don't know if you know Gabriel Lozano from University of Texas.
I've
Uh,
heard the name.
yeah, he was my first Blitzchamps student. Um, but I've also coached for Logic the Rapper. I don't know if you know him.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
for
from Maryland.
yeah, he's 301 is what they say. Which
Yeah.
is cool. So I'll have to tell him that we're doing lessons with you.
Not for sure.
But yeah, he's probably my most well-known student. But have you heard of PogChamps?
Uh, no.
So that's another chess.com tournament, but like with celebrities instead of football
Okay.
players. Yeah, so that's how I met him. But I've done lessons with YouTubers or other PogChamps players. But yeah, I'm really excited to coach for Blitzchamps Maryland again. So this is the first lesson, and I wanted to know like how long have you been playing chess, and like what got you into it, and like how do you feel like your level is?
All right. So to answer your first question, I started playing chess around I'll say like 12 years old. There was this kid in my middle school. I went to like a private middle school that was like really small. And there's this kid who was probably the best chess player I've ever seen. I don't know if you ever heard of him, Peter Heathers. Um, he won like a full ride scholarship to Coppin State, which is a university in Maryland, playing in like a chess tournament. So he's the one that really sparked my interest because like he was this he probably wasn't over like 5'4" from the Netherlands, and he had this thick accent, and it was just like it was so invigorating when he would just like help coach you out and be like, oh yeah, this, that, and the third. So he really sparked my love of chess.
That's so sick. That's awesome.
Mm,
Okay, so you started as like a kid.
yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And I've been playing like off and on since then. And when I got to college, it kind of my love kind of reignited. We started playing in Coach Harley's room. He has a chessboard up in there. We spend like a bunch of hours when we're playing football during the summer. We can't like go home, so there's nothing really to do but play football or like go play chess or play ping pong or something like that. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
hmm
So yeah, and your teammates play a little bit.
hmm
Awesome. All right. So I have your account pulled up. I wanted to just maybe watch you play some games, and then we'll go over them afterwards. Does that sound good?
okay, yeah, that's cool. How do I guess kind of like show you my
Okay.
screen?
No, you don't have to show. I can actually follow your game on chess.com once you start it.
Really?
Yeah, so that
That's
would be really
amazing.
nice. Okay, so yeah. What time control do you normally play? Do you know?
No clue. No
Okay.
clue.
So this tournament is actually it's a fast-paced tournament. Some call it speed chess, but
Okay.
it's 5-0 blitz. So I want you to go to if you see there should be like a play button. Um,
Yeah. Like
so
10 minutes to do game versus computer player friend.
you should do 5 minute
Let's see.
and then just play.
5 minute blitz.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't matter if I'm white or black.
Nope, doesn't matter.
Is there like a statistic where it's like white wins versus black wins, or is it's pretty much even?
Yeah, it depends on like the rating, but more or less, it should be even. White has a slight advantage.
Because they go first.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, man. I'm about to start it.
All right, we're ready.
All right. Let's see. Um,
Did you start it? Or are you figuring it out?
no, I'm playing right now.
Oh, okay.
Is it not?
Hold on. Let me pull it up.
My fault. I was deep in
No,
thought.
you're good. You're
I
good,
thought
dude.
you were
You're good,
just
actually.
observing. I only
All
made
right, I
two
got
moves,
it.
so
I got it. No, you're doing great,
that
actually.
that. All right. Oh, bruh, I'm tripping. Oh my goodness. Let me lock in.
It's all good. It's first game. First game. Warm up.
Feel me, feel me. Um, I think my main issue is I'm so quick to like rush to make a move that I don't see everything. I don't see the whole
Hmm.
board. Um, am I playing against someone like real, or is this
Yeah, this is a real person.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, it's a random opponent. It says they're
Okay.
from Germany, actually.
I saw that. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
One of my best friends in middle school was German.
That's
Let's
awesome.
see.
Sounds like you got friends in a lot of places.
Yeah, I've been around. You know what I'm saying? I'm from. Hold up. So if I go, yeah, I could protect it. Okay. I actually don't like that move. Actually. Oh, he's dumb.
What's up, Brody? Good to see you. I muted so you can't hear me. I don't want to distract him too much. He just blundered his knight. We'll see if the opponent's.
So there's 5 minute blitz. There's 5 minutes total on the clock, and every time you make a move, it resets the 5 minutes. Or am I tripping? It goes down.
No,
Oh,
so
he has.
it's 5 minutes total.
Oh.
Yeah, for the whole game.
Oh. So
So
he had 3 minutes and 40 seconds left to make a move, and I have
yes,
2 minutes for. Okay. So if I run out of time, I lose, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Oh. I'm in here tripping. Um, uh, that's covered. I'm in checks. Oh, you can't do that to that side. I thought you could switch the king with the rook. Am I tripping?
Not out of check. So you're in check right now. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you can't do out of check. Okay, see, I'm learning something already, man.
exactly. Yeah.
Um, but the best
I know,
move
guys.
would
This is an
be
early stream for me.
he takes.
Also, I
I feel
mute.
like one of my horses is gonna die anyway. One of them nights gone. Oh, I just took mad long to make that move. Let's see. Can't put blind checkers in.
No, guys, this
I
is
need to
the
be
answer.
faster. Hold on. Let me lock in.
That was a great move, actually. I didn't tell him. We can't tell him, but he's locking. I wish he played King of Seven so he could bring the rook to the e file. Ooh, especially right
Mhm.
now. So he's got to move this guy back. Ah, this is a blunder. We'll see. We'll see if White plays it. Yeah, Cynthia,
So, are
it's
you thinking about your next move before you even make your first move?
oh for sure. Like every move.
Okay. 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 Okay.
All right, opponent messed up. Let's see. We're trading things here.
Oh my gosh.
He's got it.
I completely did. See that? I wasn't even looking at the whole board.
So
Come
this
on,
is the
dog.
first game of many, don't worry. And I could have started with a lesson first, but I decided to do this to just kind of
Hmm.
gauge where you're at right now.
Hmm. So why can't I move my? Oh, because he'll be in check right there. That's why. All right, check. Let's go, big dog. See, I never got this stuff on the side. Can you see like these moves on the side?
Yeah, yeah, I can see him.
I never like understood that. Oh, um, gotta go here. Go ahead, take it. Go ahead, take it. It put you in checkmate. Go ahead, take it.
Wow, he wants this.
Oh, that's not checkmate. I'm tripping.
It's gonna be...
Sorry, you in check anyway.
There's this move, but then there's this.
And then if he
It's getting
moves,
complicated. Okay, king moves.
mm,
See, he's got another check.
mm, mm. That's troubling. Up, bro, and check right there. Nah. Yeah, this horse is gone. I'm wasting too much time. He's just gonna make some mistake. Come on, bro.
It's getting down to the wire here. Yeah, he's got like no time,
Oh my
unfortunately.
gosh, I'm tripping.
Rook takes and checkmate coming in soon, perhaps.
Um. Oh, but he could take it. Oh, I'm about to lose.
He knows.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So first game in the books. I want to say that the time control is tough, but it's good that we're practicing now, right?
Yeah.
So typically, how I normally start with lessons is we actually would play a longer time control, something like
Okay.
15 minutes instead of 5 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is just essentially practice for the tournament, which is 5 minutes. And this tournament, it's 4 games for one round. So you don't just play one 5 minute game, you play four.
Okay.
Yeah, versus the same player. And then if you win, you move on. It's like a bracket, basically.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, so let me start off by creating. I can create what's called a classroom on chess.com, and I can invite you to it. So let me go ahead and set that up, and then
Perfect.
keep an eye out for. You should see an invite. Let me tell you when. This is another
So,
benefit of
go ahead. What were you saying?
This is another benefit of playing on the computer. All right, I just sent it. Maybe some notification popped up. Hi, AK.
I didn't see a notification.
No? All right, hold on.
My fault.
Let me. No, it's not your fault. Let me try it again.
There we go.
Great, awesome. Okay, so you have the black pieces here. Your opponent plays e4. You play e5. This is a great start. This is actually when I play e4, and whenever someone plays against me with e4, I play e5. So
Mm,
um, also just like to help out, like every square has like essentially its name, right? So there's the
yep.
rows, there's A through H, and then there's the ranks, which is like 1 through 8. So white
Hmm.
pieces start on the first two ranks, 1 and 2. Um, and the letters are like the columns of the board. We call those files. So like the A file, H file, whatever. But each square
Okay.
individually, it's letter first, then number. So when I
So
say
it's
E4, E5, that's the two pawns in the center, right? So
okay.
white,
So it's rank and file.
yeah.
Okay.
So the ranks are the numbers,
Hmm.
the files are the letters. Okay, so now they bring their knight out, and essentially in the opening of the game, you want to control the center and develop your pieces. So putting the pawns in the center, that's controlling the center. This is really good. And then here, white's developing a piece, but it's also developing a piece with a purpose. This is attacking your pawn here, actually.
Hmm.
So ignoring like what you played in the game, let's look at this position and see, do you have a move that both develops a piece and defends this pawn?
I could bring out my um I could bring out a pawn, either D or F7.
Yeah, you can defend like this or like this. Now, there's an important distinction in chess. Like, obviously, um, you can defend the pawn with another pawn, right?
Hmm.
But when we say pieces, we're actually referring to these back rank pieces.
Mm.
Whereas the
Okay.
pawns, we don't call them pieces.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So I could take B to 6.
yeah.
B
This
to
knight,
yeah. The C6.
knight on b8 to c6. Yeah,
Yes.
this is essentially copying what white just did, right? Developing a
Uh-huh.
knight and attacking this pawn. We're developing a knight and defending this pawn.
Okay.
So this
So when
is,
he attacks me, I want to bring out one of my pieces out to defend, to develop and defend.
so yeah, it's not about defending with a piece. It's more like doing two things at the same time, right? You're both developing a piece and defending,
Okay.
right? So sometimes we actually do like to defend things with pawns.
Hmm.
The reason why we don't want to do this is because we've now blocked a piece. So how you played, you brought your bishop out, which is a
Yep.
developing move. This is great, but it does hang your pawn. So they could have taken the pawn. Instead,
Yep.
they attack your bishop, and we have to defend our pieces, right? So anytime our
Sure.
opponent makes a move, we have to ask ourselves like, what are they doing with that move, right? So like when the knight comes
Okay.
here, we have to see that our pawn is hanging or that they're
Yep.
attacking it. And then when they push this pawn here, we have to see that they're attacking our bishop. So
Hmm.
what would you do here in this position? They just pushed their pawn attacking you.
Well, now I'd move B4 to D6.
Yeah, bishop to d6. That's a good move.
Yes.
That defends your pawn, right?
Yep.
So in this position, if we play bishop to d6 right away, this move actually isn't that great because now we're blocking this d pawn.
Mm.
So that's why we like to bring the knight out in this kind of position. This is also one of the most
Hmm.
common openings in chess.
Okay.
Typically here, white will bring the bishop out either here or here. So these two squares, these are
Mm.
the most popular. So this is called an Italian opening, and this is called a Roy Lopez, also known as a Spanish opening. And you don't have to remember the names. There's so many openings and way too many names, but I'm just telling you, like, If an opening has a name, that just means it's really popular and it's really common.
Uh,
Uh,
okay. So I
so
should probably understand how to counter it because a lot of people are gonna use it.
yeah, so it's common to see. So it's good to like kind of be ready for them. Or it's also it shows that it's a good opening if a lot of people are playing it and that it has a
Mm.
name, right? So it's something that you know that you could play if like you had the white pieces. Um,
Mm.
so if you're like making something up on the spot, then there's a good chance that like you might have missed something or like you're not sure what you're doing. So that's why a lot of players kind of study these like openings, right? So, but my advice as like a coach, you don't want to memorize openings. You want to understand the principles, and if you understand the principles, then you can be flexible in pretty much any opening, as long as you're understanding like why certain moves are being played, um, and you're like defending your pieces. So like in this position, this is one of the most common openings in chess. Essentially, the pawns are controlling the center, and the knights are also trying to fight for the center, right? If you look, the knight controls these two squares. This knight controls the same exact squares. So essentially, one's attacking, one's defending, and that's like the difference of going first with white as opposed to going second with black, right?
I
So
see.
okay, in the actual game, we play f6, so we're defending the pawn, but we unfortunately forgot about our bishop, so we're just down a piece
Yeah.
here. And now we
Yeah.
push our pawn here, but notice their bishop can take this, right?
Hmm.
So anytime we move a piece, we have to make sure that that square we're moving to is safe, right?
Hmm.
So when we go here, we have to notice this bishop can take it. So they take that, we attack them, they tuck here, we're developing a piece, they playing in the center, we take, they take, we develop the knight, attacking the queen. This is actually a really good move. So the knights like to go in the
First good
center.
move. First good move.
No, I mean you played other like e5 was a good move as well. So this move is so great because knights like to develop towards the center anyways, and the
Okay.
knight here attacks the queen as well.
Yeah.
So this is another one of those moves with two ideas, right? You're developing a piece in the center. That's one main idea. This is good generally, like no matter what. And the second thing is that you're developing with an attack. You're attacking the queen. So that's especially good. So anytime we have
Okay.
moves that can do two things at the same time, that's called a multi-purpose move, and those are
Hmm.
really good.
All
Because
right.
you only have one move to make at a time, right? So if your one move is doing multiple things, you're really maximizing your efficiency, your potential. So okay, we're attacking the queen. They save the queen. Now we're playing in the center. So this is actually a complicated move, right? So let's look at this pawn push. We're attacking their bishop and this pawn, right?
Hmm.
Their pawn and their bishop can also both take this pawn. So if they take us, we can take back, and if they take, then our queen takes back, right?
Hmm.
So this is like an example of calculation. We have to essentially count how many pieces are attacking and defending this pawn. So it works out for you because you have two defenders and they have only two attackers. So we have to just make sure that we are kind of aware of that. Now it gets complicated because if they start, we calculate if pawn takes, knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes, and we're fine. But if they take the other way with the bishop first, this is where it gets complicated because, and if we take back with the knight now, they can take back with a pawn and we can take back, and that's the same thing. But this is different because now they don't have this bishop here. Their queen can take the knight with check.
Mm.
Yeah. And then we're going to lose this knight next. So, like, even if we block with the queen, they can simply take our knight with the queen or like with the pawn. But I'm not like expecting you
Mm.
to see all this. I'm just sharing that like things can get complicated if you don't look through it the whole way. Like seeing that the queen is opposite our knight is difficult, because it's like the bishop's in the way. The knight's also defended by two pieces. When we push this pawn, now the knight's not defended by a pawn anymore. It's only
Mm-hmm.
defended by our knight. So
Okay.
that's why if we see the take here and our knight moves, now the queen is opened up and our knight's hanging. So this loses a piece. But I do think that like in general, playing in the center is good. And this would have worked as well if we had our b pawn still. We played b5 earlier, right here, and they
Mm-hmm.
took it. So every pawn is important, right? And we're going to try to hold on to them if we can. Um, because that pawn was helping support this square for our knight. But okay, let's move on because I don't think that happened. They retreated, right? And now we win this pawn attacking the knight. So this is really good for us. They're retreating and attacking this. We're attacking their queen, but unfortunately we have to remember our knight is not defended by anything else. This knight is defending this knight. So when we move this knight, we actually forget about this knight. He missed it. He goes back, and now we save our knight and we attack the queen, which is another really good move. They take here, and now we're in check. So you cannot castle out of check.
Okay.
So that's a big lesson for today. So
For sure.
you have to either block or you have to move the king. So you moved to f8. Now, I think you had a better square to move the king to. Do you want to think about it?
So if I move the king to D7, then it's protected by that bishop right there and the queen.
Yeah, so that is one other option. What's the last option?
Um, I guess I could. Where did I move it before? Did I not
You
move it
went
to
you went to
F8?
f8.
Oh, can I go diagonal then? F7?
Yeah, f7 I think is the best move.
And why is that?
So king to d7, this is more in the center. So even though the king's defended, it actually
Hmm.
doesn't matter if the king's defended or not, because if we lose the king, like there's no recapturing. Um,
Yeah.
we want the king essentially tucked away in the corner of the board. In the middle of the board,
Okay.
we can get attacked. So
Mm.
definitely going to the F file is better than to
Hmm.
the D file. But the reason why F7 is better than F8 is because on F7, the rook now is cleared to join the center of the board, right? So we can bring the rook to E8. Whereas if we go
That
king
makes a lot of
F8, the
sense.
rook is blocked by our king. We can't get through. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. So I do actually want to go back and I have to point something out. F6 is generally frowned upon as a move in general. So even though it
Really?
looks pretty, it looks like you're setting up this pawn chain. The problem is we like to castle, right? And we like to put our king. We like the F6 square for our knight. This is a much better square for the knight because we're developing the piece towards the center and we're getting ready to castle this way, right? So like let's
Okay. So you
say
can get a couple moves out of one.
yeah, so I've castled now and the king is tucked away and now the rook is closer to the center as well, right? Now
Mm.
when we look at the what happened in the game, see how we have the pawn on F6 and the
Hmm.
knight can't go here anymore.
Hmm.
Also, they have this bishop here now. Um, so now we put the knight here, and notice what happens if we try to castle now.
Then the bishop could.
Yeah, so we're not even allowed to castle anymore because the bishop would be where our king is, right?
Hmm.
So we can't even castle because we pushed this pawn, right? And this bishop's
Okay.
now a really strong piece. So yeah, so essentially when we push that F pawn, our knight can't go here, and the bishop covers where our king wants to go. So there's essentially two negatives with this one pawn push.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, not the end of the world. Let's look at this now. So we could have gone here to bring the rook over, and it might seem like a minor detail, but look at what happens here. Notice they moved this bishop. Imagine if we could put the rook on e8. What do you notice
Mm.
about that?
It will take the queen and put the king in check
Exactly. And could
and
they?
threaten that.
Yeah, yeah. It's doing a lot, right? So imagine they try to save the queen. If we played rook to e8, is there any way
Mm-hmm.
they could save their queen?
Um, if he put his queen in C2, then I don't think I could take it.
Um,
Or or if he went to F3, I don't think I could take it.
so if the queen moved away, now we could take their king, right?
Uh,
So that's actually called a pin. So they're not even allowed to move the queen away, right?
oh, because he'll be in check. Oh,
Exactly.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
So he can't even save his queen.
exactly. The queen's trapped. If we so like let's look at this king f7 idea. This
Mm-hmm.
is what happened in the game. They eventually moved the bishop, right? Let's say they move the bishop now. Rook e8 is just winning on the spot for you. Because
Mm.
now you just win the queen. So their best move here is to take the rook, and then you could even take with the queen with check. And now
Whoa.
they have to get out of this somehow. Look at how crazy this could swing. Like if they block with their bishop, now we can get this knight check. We're forking the king and the rook. This is called a fork when you're attacking two
Okay.
kings at once. So in chess,
Okay.
there's these things called tactics, right? So I called rook here. This is called a pin
Okay.
because the queen is pinned to the king.
Yep.
So essentially, the definition is whenever a piece of lesser value is attacked uh, along the same file uh, or rank or diagonal, and something of higher values. It's like you don't have to remember the exact definition, but
Hmm.
in easier terms, it's when something is attacked that is in between like a higher value piece. So essentially, the queen is the strongest piece in chess, but the king
Yep.
is the most valuable, right? Because
Yep.
that's the name of the game. If you can get to the king, then you win.
Yep.
So the king is the most valuable piece. The queen's the most powerful piece. So anything that has like the king in front of it, that is easily pinned, right?
Hmm.
Um, Now, if I were to set up like let's say this queen went here. Well, let's say you go here. Queen steps back. I know this is a bad move, but let's say the knight goes here, and now I put the rook here. The knight is pinned, right?
Hmm.
Because now the queen is the higher value piece, and the knight is in between the two.
Mm.
So whenever there's a piece that's pinned, we want to attack it essentially. So right now, let's say that white does some random move. This is a decent move. Now I can move this pawn to attack the knight.
Mm.
So the knight cannot move without dropping the queen, but it gets complicated because they could technically move the knight like with check, right?
Oh, okay.
Because if we take the queen now, we're gonna lose our king.
Yep.
So checks are very valuable. So that's one thing. Um, but okay, let me point out something else. Let's say they just go here, for example, and then we do something random. Now in this position, let's say white tries to give this same check.
Hmm.
This is where it gets super complicated. Technically, we can take this knight,
Yep.
because the queen is
Oh.
now pinned to the king, right?
Ooh.
Am I blowing your mind right now?
Yo, hold on. You got to run that back one more time because I just seen that the last second. Hold on.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh-huh. So you pin the knight in between the queen.
Yeah. So it's like
You
the knight is this is like a fake pin almost, right?
okay.
So even though if the knight moves, we could take the queen, but the knight can move with a stronger threat. Like you could lose the queen and still play the game, but you can't lose your king and still play, right? So
Yep.
all they have to do is put us in check, and now
Mm-hmm.
we can't take the queen right away because
Yep.
we have to save our king first. So probably best, we could just move our king back, right? And they're still dealing with this pen,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's difficult for them to get out of this. So that's good for us. But I'm saying there's this even like fancier way we could take this knight because now the queen really can't move because now the king is behind the queen.
Mm-hmm.
So the knight could have moved even though it was pinned because uh because they were giving a check, right?
Yep.
So now white really can't move off this file because then their king would be in check. So now there's actually a crazy queen sacrifice here. The queen can take our rook, and if we take back, now they're not pinned. Their bishop can take our queen.
Um.
Yeah, so it gets super complicated. What's funny though is that same tactic wouldn't work if we had like our bishop here. Because now if they go
Mm.
for this check, queen takes really does work because queen takes, we take back with the rook now with check. So they don't have
And
time
now
to
it
take our
happens to.
queen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And with the bishop here, if they go king here, this is actually checkmate because the queen is defended by
Oh
the bishop and the
yeah.
king is cut off. So, anyways, chess is a really beautiful game. There's always fun tactics and things, but essentially, my job is to teach you the rules and the tactics to be able to use them. But essentially, tactics come from just being in a good position, right? So the most important in the beginning is to teach you how to set up a good position, right? So based off the opening, you want to follow certain principles. So the first and main one is controlling the center, which I think you understand.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is because our pieces have more options and more squares from the center. So like I like to describe the chessboard as like a hill, where the center of the board is the top of the hill.
Okay.
So if you're at the top of the hill, it's very easy for you to roll down to any area of the board or any area, any direction. If you're on the
Yep.
bottom of the hill, it's hard to climb up, right? So um, that's why the knights like to be
In the middle.
yeah. So like you could actually even count the options that you have with the knight. So from here, the knight controls 8 squares, right? And
Word.
that's
Mm-hmm.
this is the maximum amount of squares a knight can control. It can't control more than 8.
Yep.
The knight on the starting square, this is the edge of the board. That is only 3 squares. Also, we just got
Mm.
rated by a grandmaster, Hammer. Thank you, Hammer. Welcome. We're doing a lesson with Daniel, also known as Do. He's a player from University of Maryland. I'm explaining the controlling the center. Hammer's probably one of the best coaches out there. I don't know if he's doing any
Really?
lessons. Yeah. But he plays another game called Runes. He plays a lot of other games, but he's been playing RuneScape. I don't know if you.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
RuneScape.
nice.
Yeah, I ain't that young. Come on now.
Okay. Awesome. So yeah, like let's say right now at the start of a position, the knight can go to 2 squares, right?
Yep.
We're gonna choose the center option, like essentially every single time, because if we put the knight on the edge here, our knight now only controls 4 squares,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whereas if we go to the center, we control 8. So literally in the center of the board, the knight is twice as effective than the knight on the edge. And you could
Okay.
argue it's even better than that because the squares it's controlling are more towards the center as well. Like the
Hmm.
squares are more important than the squares it controls here.
Yep.
Um, okay, so yeah, controlling the center is really important, obviously. But okay, let's finish looking at the game. So we play King F8. We save our knights. This is a counterattack on the queen. So this is a good move, but unfortunately, we have to see that when they go bishop here, what are they doing?
They are um they're cutting off my ability to castle.
Yeah, we've already moved the king, so castling
Oh, I
is
can't do that.
yeah, you can't castle after you've moved the king. But
Yep.
there's a more concrete threat with this move that they're doing. They're
Oh,
attacking.
they attacking my knight.
Yeah. So right now, they can't take your knight with the queen because you have it defended, right?
Yep.
So when they attack the knight a second time, now they are
They
threatening to
have
take the
more
knight.
threats.
Yeah. So
Because
we
they have
have
two
to
versus one.
exactly. So we have to address this threat with defending the knight. So there's a couple ways we could defend it. You could defend it with another piece, or you could defend it by moving it, right?
Hmm.
Now, there's another way sometimes to defend something, and it's by not defending it. It's by creating a stronger threat, right? A counterattack, which is what you've done here, pawn attacking the queen.
Hmm.
So if they take our knight with the bishop, then we win the queen, right?
I like that trade. I like that
Yeah,
trade.
exactly. The problem is they don't have to take the knight with the bishop, they can take the knight with the queen.
Mm.
So this gets their queen out of our attack and wins the knight for them.
Hmm.
So that's why this move doesn't quite work, but they missed it. They go back, and now we have another opportunity to save ourselves. Um, Also, when they move this bishop, this is where like we don't have to defend the knight if our rook could have gotten to e8, because then we just win the queen.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay, so probably a better move here is moving the knight. Now we can't just move the knight anyways anywhere because notice our knight is actually pinned to the second knight.
So
So we
we
would
should
have
go
to,
to E7.
yeah, if we bring the knight to e7, we're both saving the knight and defending the second knight. So
Yeah.
that's a great move. We could have also moved this other knight to e7 because now we
Mm.
defend this knight this way. Yeah,
Which one's better?
that's a great question. I would probably say this second knight to e7 is better.
Because we're still controlling the center with my other knight.
Yeah, this knight is centrally placed. Also, we're kind of blocking this bishop with this
Hmm.
knight. So if we bring this bishop or this knight back, this bishop opens up,
Mm.
and this could be dangerous for us. But yeah, both moves deal with this main threat though of
Yep.
saving this guy. So okay, we attack the queen, and they go back, and now we save our knight by attacking. So this is solid too. This allows a queen trade. So we take back. Now, luckily our queen was defended, but do you know like if this trade favors you or if it favors them? What do you think?
So if he takes my queen, I take that, then I think I win that.
Do you think it's like better for you, worse for you, or do you think it's actually neutral?
It might be neutral because we just traded queens. Like
Yeah,
it wasn't really anything gained. Like I went back a position, so anything,
yeah,
it was because I control less squares now.
that's true. That's actually a really good point. Our knight has to go backwards, right?
Hmm.
So our knight was better on this square, controlling the
Yeah.
center, than it is down here. So that's one thing. I would say the main thing to think about is overall this position, you're actually down a piece, right? So you lost a piece really early on, like right here, where you lost this bishop.
Yeah.
So that kind of dictates the pace for the rest of the game because
Mm,
all white has to do, if they make these neutral trades or these even trades for the rest of the game, they're just going to be up a piece in the end, right? And then they'll have better chances to win than you. Like they would still need to have some pawns and they would like try to promote their pawns to like a queen and win that way, but it would
yeah.
be a lot easier for them to do that. So the rule of thumb is if you are up material, trades are good. You want to trade as much as possible. If you are
Okay.
down material, if you're down a
No
piece or
trades.
whatever, yeah, try to hold on to your material as much as possible because you'll use
Yeah.
your material to attack and fight back and try to win that material back and balance that material, right?
Okay.
So you need the material for a comeback, essentially. So trading, if you're up, is good. So trading queens in this position is beneficial for white.
Yeah.
So there's two reasons that we pointed out. First one is that our knight has to go backwards, so that's not good. The main reason is because we're down material, we're down a piece, so trading is bad.
Hmm.
There's another factor to think about. Queens, as I mentioned, are the most powerful piece. They're really good at attacking. And
Hmm.
it's because the queens just control the most squares. So if queens are really good at attacking, one other factor to consider when trading queens is king safety. So the side with the safer king prefers to have the queen on. The side with the weak king that's exposed and easily attacked, they want to trade queens off because if the is on the board, your king is even less safe, right?
I
So
see. I see.
who do you think has the safer king between white and black?
He definitely does because he has only a few spaces open near his king. Mine is like wide open.
Yeah, your king is definitely wide open. I think also the fact that white can castle is probably the
Mm.
biggest factor. So white can still castle, and their king is very
Hmm.
safe there. We cannot castle anymore. And this bishop is taking up two squares right next to our king. And the king is still relatively in the center. Like if this bishop got here, that'd be a check. Yeah, we're very exposed. So queen trade in that regard favors you because now your king is a little safer without the queens on the board.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things to take into consideration, but the biggest one
Yeah.
is the material, right? So being down material kind of trumps wanting to trade queens because of king safety. Now, if you're gonna get checkmated, then like you have to trade queens, right?
Yeah.
So, but in this situation, that wasn't necessarily a threat. So yeah, probably better to save the knight is to bring this knight back or to bring this bishop forward is another good move because this develops another piece and defends.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's look at what happened. We moved the knight attacking the queen. We traded queens, and now they attack our knight here, and this also saves this pawn. Probably better for them is to castle because they defend the pawn with the king, and they're getting out of the center, and they're getting the rook in to the center. But instead, they push the pawn, and now you do a risky move here. You put them in check, which is typically good because now they can't castle out of check. They have to move the king. Now they can't castle, right? So this is really good for us.
Yeah.
The problem is our knight is a little trapped from here.
Hmm.
So that's something we have to always keep in mind. If we're moving forward, especially with knights, we have to make sure that they can be saved later, right? So like the deeper into their position we go, the easier it is for that piece to get attacked because we're in enemy territory now. This piece can be saved, so this isn't like that bad, but we have to keep that in mind. We have to make sure that we can save it. So let's say, for example, this is a really good move, by the way, what you did. This is great. But let's say they now attack us, right? And this is maybe something similar to what happened in the game. You attacked them, and this actually it gets kind of complicated. This is actually what was played in the game, but um, Yeah, this is another example of where, like, okay, our piece is hanging. How do we defend it? We can defend it in a lot of ways, but creating a stronger threat, putting them in check, this is always a, a strong response because you're not defending this immediately. You're just saying like, I'm not I'm not going to let you take because then I'm going to take your king. So it is
Hmm.
defending it in one way, but this sort of idea can get risky because you're susceptible to a counterattack to your counterattack, essentially. They could have played something like f3. So now you actually have two pieces hanging.
Mm.
Now you have, I would say, two responses to this that you could have done to save both pieces, right? So do you see? You have one, I think, really good move that
I see
saves.
bishop to f3 would defend knight and put this king in check. But I don't see. Oh, if I move the knight to e3, then that defends
Exactly.
the bishop as well.
Yeah, yeah. So it gets really complicated. Bishop takes the pawn on f3. It does defend the knight and it does put the king in check, but unfortunately that pawn is defended by this knight. So we would lose
Mm.
that. Um, this check is your best move because it just gets the knight out of harm's way and it comes with the check. So there's no time for them to
Hmm.
take our bishop. So
Okay.
this is a really strong move. Your next best move to save both pieces is you could move the bishop to h3 to defend the knight.
Hmm.
I'm not the biggest fan of this because now our pawn or our bishop is very defensive, right? And it's kind
Yeah.
of tucked away in the corner here. So the knight move is best. What's interesting about this bishop takes is that after bishop takes, we have this knight check, but now the bishop has opened up and can just take our piece. So we lost our
Mm.
bishop. What's great about the knight check immediately is that the knight is still blocking their bishop. So they can't take our knight, and our knight can then take the bishop next. So they have to move the king to one of these two squares. And now we have our choice. We can save our bishop or we can take their bishop, right? So if we take here, it doesn't matter if we lose this bishop because we just won that one. And now we can like trade or do a lot of other things. But yeah, we could also save the bishop, right? And just move it like here or here. Also, we actually don't even have to take or save the bishop. We could come up with another attack, right? Knight here attacks the rook in the corner.
Oh.
Yeah. This is a little riskier because it's actually so first and foremost they can save the rook. This is a little awkward, but they could also just take the bishop and be okay with giving up the rook because now this knight after a move like let's just say king here. Now the knight's trapped. So we can't actually leave. Remember saying the knights are really good in the center? This is the
Yeah.
absolute worst square on the board for a knight because it's on two it's in the actual corner. So it only
Yeah.
controls two squares. So when a knight is in the center, it controls 8 squares, and the corner it only controls 2. So this is the absolute minimum. So it's controlling a fourth as many squares. Um, but rooks are really strong pieces. They're pretty valuable. So taking rooks is good. I don't know if you've ever heard of the what's called a point value system in chess.
I have not.
Okay, so each piece is assigned a value, a numerical value, and it has nothing to do with the rules of chess. It's more of a beginner guideline on understanding when to trade and how to trade. So like intuitively, if a piece is under attack by a pawn, you want to save that piece, right?
Yeah.
Same with the queen. If a queen's ever attacked by anything, you want to save your queen, right? So the queen has a high value, and pawns have the lowest value. But the reason why it's like irrelevant for the rules of the game is because ultimately you win or lose by checkmate and not by the material, right? So like for example, when I'm telling you, okay, trades, you want to avoid trades when you're up material,
Yeah.
or sorry, you want to avoid trades if you're down material. But like being down material is not the end of the game, right? If you can checkmate, it doesn't matter if you're down all the pieces in the world. Checkmate's game over.
Thought
Uh,
you said that you wanted to make trades if you're down so that there's less threat to your king.
okay,
Or
so
my
that's kind of, yeah, it conflicts. It's confusing. It's not when you're down. It's if your king is weak, king safety, you want to trade queens. Yeah,
okay. I'm
yeah,
mixing the two. Wait,
yeah.
okay.
It's complicated.
Hmm.
If you are up material, then the even neutral trades are good for you because then you're going to be left in a position where you're just up and your opponent has nothing,
Mm,
right?
yep.
If you're down material, you're behind. So you want to hold on to as much as you can and decline trades because you want to use that to come back. Um, okay, so let's go back to the game. This is getting complicated, but okay, they save the king. We have this check. This is where you're starting to get low on time.
Yeah, so
So
I was just starting to rush. I
yeah,
ain't gonna
so
lie.
at this point it doesn't really matter too much, like what happened because like you're gonna lose on time anyways.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry too much about these moves. Um, but yeah, I see Uncle Jesse is one of my other students saying that your coach is good, but to be determined perhaps. But shout out to Jesse.
What's up,
Um,
Uncle Jesse?
she's asking how long you've been playing.
Um, I guess like seriously, probably like a year.
Okay.
But like I played a little bit in like middle school, but
Hmm.
seriously, I'll say like a year ever since I got on campus.
All right. Also, yeah, we have one of the chess club ambassadors, we call him Ashrith, who can do lessons in person too. But
Okay.
yeah, you guys have a chess club, so maybe some of you guys could go meet and play at the chess club one day. But
No, like that would be great practice. Honestly, that would be like
yeah,
amazing for.
yeah, I would hit
I'm gonna
up.
have to text him.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Ask them when they meet and see if you can play over the board. But anyways, we're technically at an hour now, so I want to respect your time. If you want to go, you can go. But if you wanted to stick around for more, let me know, and
Hmm.
I can keep going.
I was gonna say, like, so my roommate is actually in this chess tournament too. So we kind of been, you know what I'm
Playing
saying,
together.
bumping. Yeah, a little bit. So he was studying a bunch of openings.
Okay.
What do you think? Like in my head, I'm thinking like rock paper scissors, right? So the most popular opening people are gonna do. So you want to have a counter to that popular opening. So your opener should be like a counter off the bat. Is that like a good way of thinking, or should I not think like that?
Yeah, I would try to like not get too caught up in the openings, but typically the rock paper scissors kind of analogy is interesting because to every opening there's like a lot of different responses.
Hmm.
Um, and there's a lot of like solid responses, right? So there's no like right or wrong answer. Um, Sticking with this opening of the game, we saw e4. You played e5, and this is typically what I recommend for both white and black.
Okay.
So I like to stick to this. White could play a move like d4, and then we could play d5. But like against e4, there's all sorts of other responses. There's c5. There's e6. This is called a French defense. There's d6. Sorry, not d. c6. This is called a Caro-Kann. People don't really play d6 that much, but yeah,
Okay.
like just kind of like that's like five examples of just one response to like e4. It's too complicated to think too much about like rock paper scissors. I
Okay.
would try to stick to one thing and get comfortable with it.
Hmm.
because it's easier to know like one response well than to know a ton of responses. Yeah, and also like when you're actually in the tournament playing against your opponents, obviously you could try to figure out what openings they play and prepare for, but odds are like you're not going to know who your pairing is going to be until like
Yeah.
beforehand, and maybe they play something else on the spot. So it's very difficult to prepare for something, and then if
Mhm.
it doesn't work out, then it's like, well, now you kind of are on your own, right?
Throwing off your whole
Yeah.
game.
So
Mm.
most important
So
is
to
to,
focus on me type. Okay.
yeah, just try to stick to the principles, and figure out like, okay, are they attacking anything? Do I need to defend? Do I have any attacks? So I would
Hmm.
say main takeaways for today, like not playing this F pawn, making
Yep.
sure that
No.
that
No
square is good for
F5.
your knight, yeah.
F6.
And then trying to get castled earlier, right? So you got in check, and then you learned that you can't castle out of check. That's really important.
Hmm.
So castling earlier, I didn't even go into like what it's considered to be called fully developed, is what I like to call it. It's what people call it. But
Hmm.
yeah, did you want to go into it more, or did you want to call it for today and meet up next week?
I think this was good for today, but I appreciate you so much, man. I can't express that enough, man. I'm
Yeah.
so excited, like just continue playing chess. I'm being there whole weekend. I'm not doing anything but sitting on my couch watching Jujutsu Kaisen and playing chess, man.
Oh,
That's it.
amazing, amazing. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
dude,
for
I
sure.
really appreciate you, and your energy is amazing too. And I'm glad to know. Is your roommate on the team?
Yeah, all my roommates are on the team, but only one of them was playing in the tournament.
Okay. Do you want to share who it is or no?
We could do that. Yeah, it's Caleb Wheatland. He's number 44.
Caleb. Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
would love to see
Are
you
you
guys.
training him?
He's not on my list,
Good.
but
Good.
we'll see. I already mentioned I'm talking with Tavon,
Yep.
and I think the other player is actually going to do a lesson in person with Asreeth.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I think Tavon was watching the stream. I texted him to cut it on.
awesome. Yeah, yeah. You
Mm.
might have some people scouting you, but no, I
He
think
ain't
we'll.
gonna get me, baby. We gonna
Yeah,
elevate.
we're gonna try to get Tavon on a lesson on stream next week.
That
But it's good. It's good. I think we should do something weekly, like regularly. If we do, oh, there's Tay in the chat. Actually, I'm definitely watching. He's taking notes too.
no.
So
Hold on.
he's
I'm gonna have to
stealing
pull
the
up the
lesson.
stream.
No, but that's good because we're all learning together, and I'm gonna try to get him on next week. And you also, you're more than welcome to reach out to me at any time. We don't have to just do lessons once a week, or we don't also have to do lessons only on stream.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'm a resource for you to use whenever you have anything chess related or otherwise. Hit me up. I'm happy to help.
Thank you so much. I will. I appreciate you
All right, great. Thank you so much, dude. I'll see you later.
for sure. Have a good rest of your day.
All right, you too.
See you.
All right, well, that was Daniel in his first lesson, and we'll hope to do these lessons regularly on Fridays. Good to see Tay. Appreciate him tuning in, and hopefully he learned something too. But I'm hoping to get him on next week as well sometime. So stay tuned for that. We'll see. Thanks, AK. Appreciate it. All right, guys. That's it for me today. I'm gonna send you off on a raid, and I'll see you all later. Oh my goodness, Chicken's raiding. Shout out to Chicken. Chicken, you're tuning in at the very end. I'm unfortunately heading out, but appreciate that. I hope your stream went well. I'm down for some Bug House later, dude, if you want to play. Anyways, let's find someone. Who's on right now? Uh, let's see. I could raid. Let's raid Chess Nerd. What's up, Kirby? What's up, Stellar? Good to see you, dude. Hi, Bughouse player. All right, we're rating Chess Nerd. It looks like he's going into tournament prep, which I think is beneficial for
The retreat. We'll see
Yeah.
after bishop e6.
any beginner players trying to learn the Italian. This is my favorite opening, and this is what I teach. So Zach is actually going over a chessable course with Anish Giri, one of the leading authorities on chess teaching. So this will be really interesting to see. All right, I'll see you guys over there. Take care. Have a great Friday or weekend. I don't know if I'll stream later tonight. I might not, but I will definitely be streaming tomorrow. Definitely be sure to tune in for the Collegiate Chess League. I'll be commentating with Benjamin Bach instead of Anna. Anna's actually at the Streamer Awards. Yo, D Owens, huge follow. Thank you so much, dude. Seriously, your energy is amazing. I'm really lucky to have you as a student, and hope to see you again next week. But yeah, I'm gonna rate another guy who's going over Italian opening theory. So if you wanted to learn more, that's actually my same opening, so that'll be cool for me to see too. All right, guys, see you later. Thanks everyone. Take care.